Most people think cold kills you because you do not have enough heat. That is wrong. Cold kills you because you let the heat you already have leak out faster than your body can replace it. Right now, sitting there watching this, you are a 100-watt heater. Your body is constantly producing roughly the same heat as a bright light bulb. In normal life, buildings, clothes, and cars trap that heat without you thinking about it. When those layers disappear, when the power is out, the furnace is dead, the car is stuck, and the wind is cutting through your clothes, that same 100 watts is all you have. If you are still alive, it is because that tiny heater is still on. Your job in extreme cold is not to become a bonfire. It is to protect that 100-watt flame with everything you have. To do that, you have to understand 3 simple ways the world steals your heat. Conduction is when you touch something colder than you and your warmth soaks into it. The ground, metal, concrete, a cold car seat. Convection is when moving air strips the warm layer around your skin and replaces it with cold air. Wind, drafts, fans. Radiation is the invisible glow of infrared energy your body sends out into the dark. Even in still air, you are shining heat away. Extreme cold survival is about fighting those 3 thieves with whatever is around you. You may not have a working heater. You may not be able to risk a fire because of smoke or security. You still have options. Here are 6 moves that can keep that 100-watt furnace alive with no electricity and no campfire. Cold move 1, build a system on your skin. Most people think warm coat and stop there. They throw on one big jacket over a cotton shirt and wonder why they are still shaking. That is like trying to hold water in your hands instead of using a container. Cold move 1 is to turn your clothing into a heat trapping system. Start with what touches your skin. You want a base layer that pulls moisture away from you. Wool or synthetic fabrics do this. Cotton does not. Cotton holds sweat against your skin. In cold weather, wet cotton is a slow death. If all you have is a cotton shirt and you are sweating, you are better off changing into something dry, even if it is a cheap synthetic gym shirt, than staying wrapped in damp cotton. On top of that base, you add insulation. Insulation just means trapped air. Fleece, puffy jackets, wool sweaters, even crumpled paper or dry leaves stuffed under your clothes. All of those create little pockets of air that your body can warm. The more trapped air, the more resistance to conduction. Then you add a shell. Wind and moving air will strip heat faster than almost anything. A thin layer that stops air movement is more powerful than people realize. It can be a proper rain jacket, a poncho, a trash bag with a hole for your head and arms, a tarp wrapped and belted. If it stops the wind, it is doing a job. Now pay attention to the leaks. Head, neck, wrists, ankles, blood flows close to the surface here. Those are vents that bleed heat. A hat or even a wrapped scarf around your head can make the difference between clear thinking and slow, stupid decisions. Cover your neck. Tuck sleeves into gloves and pants into socks if you can. Anything that closes gaps keeps your warm air inside. In an emergency with very bad clothing, you can cheat. Stuff your jacket and pants with dry grass, newspaper, foam, or shredded cloth. It will look ridiculous and feel bulky. It will also add inches of trapped air that your body can heat. You do not get points for looking good. You get points for not slipping into hypothermia. Cold move 2, get off the ground, then bury yourself. You can be wrapped in 3 jackets and still freeze if you are lying on bare concrete. That is conduction cutting straight into your core. The earth is a giant heat sink. It does not care that you are alive. It will suck warmth out of you as long as you give it a path. The first rule of sleeping or resting in the cold is simple. Never lie directly on the ground if you can avoid it. Anything between you and the ground is worth more than another layer on top. Cardboard, dry leaves, pine needles, branches, old clothes, foam, even crumpled plastic. Build a mat under you at least as thick as your hand. Thicker if you can, then think about your shelter. A debris hut is one of the oldest, simplest, most effective cold shelters humans have used. The idea is straightforward. You make a small frame. A ridgepole set between 2 supports, or one end on a stump or rock and the other on the ground. You lean sticks against it to form a triangle tunnel. Then you bury it. You pile leaves, grass, needles, moss, anything dry and organic on top, not a few inches. Think 2 feet or more. From the outside, it looks like a lump of forest floor with a small entrance. Inside, it is a tiny tunnel just big enough for you to slide in. The smallness is important. The more empty space you have to heat, the harder your 100-watt heater has to work. A shelter that feels roomy is usually bad in the cold. You want it to feel cramped. Once you are inside, your breath and body gradually warm the air. The thick debris on top slows heat from escaping. On the floor of that tunnel, you still need insulation, more leaves, a mat of branches, anything to keep your body from touching bare ground. A debris hut will not feel like a cabin. It will feel like being inside a pile of leaves. But if built right, it can mean the difference between shivering all night in the open and waking up alive. You can use the same principle in urban settings. Fill the back seat or trunk of a dead car with layers of cardboard, clothes, and trash bags full of dry material. Climb inside that nest. The car shell blocks wind and some radiation. Your improvised forest floor blocks conduction. You are building a cave around your furnace. Cold move 3. Turn foil into an invisible wall. Even if you block wind and ground, you are still bleeding heat through radiation. You are constantly shining infrared energy into your surroundings. In a warm room, it does not matter. In a freezing warehouse or tent, it does. You cannot see it, but you can bounce it. Shiny surfaces reflect radiant heat back the way they reflect light. Mylar emergency blankets, the crinkly silver sheets in cheap survival kits, are designed for this. So are car windshield sunshades and reflective bubble wrap insulation. Most people make one simple mistake with them. They drape them loosely over their shoulders and wonder why they are still cold. A reflective surface works best when it is used to trap a layer of warmed air or to bounce heat off a boundary. Think of 3 good uses. First, inside layers. Wrap a mylar blanket around yourself under a coat or between 2 layers of clothes or blankets. Now your radiant heat hits that reflective layer and is pushed back toward your body, while the fabric and air around it stop conduction and convection. Second, ground and wall barriers. Lay a reflective layer under your sleeping spot with some padding on top. Your radiant heat hits the shiny surface and some is reflected back instead of being absorbed by the floor. Tape reflective material to the inside of a cardboard or debris shelter wall, foil side facing in, to reduce radiant loss. Third, hot side protection. If you have some heat source, like a candle, body heat from multiple people, or a small bed of coals in a safe container, putting reflective material behind you bounces that combined warmth back onto your group instead of letting it vanish into a dark wall. You do not need commercial mylar to use this trick. Clean aluminum foil, reflective duct insulation, shiny snack packaging, or metallic bubble wrap all act as radiant barriers. They do not have to be pretty. They just have to face the right way, shiny side toward the heat you want to keep. Cold move 4. Use water as a heat. Battery water is heavy and annoying to carry. It is also one of the best substances for holding heat you will ever touch. If you have any way at all to warm water, even a little, you have a tool most people ignore: a portable, rechargeable heat battery. Fill a hard-sided bottle with very hot water, screw the lid on tight, wrap it in cloth, and put it against your core. Stomach. Inner thighs, armpits. These are places with big blood vessels close to the skin. Warming them helps stabilize your whole system. That bottle will stay warm long after the air around you goes cold. Hours in many cases. Later, when it cools toward room temperature, it is still drinkable water. Nothing wasted. If you do not have a heating source, you can flip the trick. Fill a bottle with cold water and hold it against your core under your clothes. Your body will warm it slowly. It feels cold at first, but over time the water climbs toward your skin temperature. Once it is significantly warmer than the air at your feet, move it down to your toes or between your legs. Now the bottle helps prevent your extremities from dropping further. Do not put boiling water directly into flimsy bottles. They can deform, leak, or burst. Think hot but safe to touch through fabric for a second or two, not rolling boil. The point is simple. You are taking heat that would normally just bleed into the air and putting it into a dense, portable mass that releases it slowly where you need it most. Cold move 5. Put cardboard between you and death. Cardboard is one of the most underrated survival materials on Earth. It is free everywhere and built from the exact thing you need in the cold, trapped air. Look closely at a piece of corrugated cardboard and you will see the pattern. 2 flat layers with a wavy layer in between. That wave traps pockets of air in a rigid structure. It is basically a manufactured version of the dead air spaces we try to create with leaves, feathers, and foam. You can use cardboard in 3 powerful ways. Under you. Multiple layers of cardboard on a cold floor or ground cut conduction drastically. If all you can do is rip boxes apart and lay them down until you have a thick mat, you have made a real improvement. Around you. Stuff flat pieces under your clothes, between a shirt and a jacket, or between 2 pairs of pants. It is not comfortable and it looks ridiculous, but even a few millimeters adds trapped air. In your shell, if you are stuck in a car or a single room, line the inside of the doors and windows with cardboard. Tape or wedge pieces over glass to stop drafts and create a barrier. Cardboard over a window, with something reflective on the inside facing you, is a huge step up from bare glass. You are turning a thin metal box or plain room into a layered structure, where each layer slows down conduction and blocks convection. 2 or 3 layers of cardboard and plastic on a car window plus a blanket over you takes a vehicle from metal freezer on wheels to barely survivable cocoon. You do not need fancy gear for that, just trash and tape. Cold Move 6, share the furnace. Everything so far has focused on trapping your own body heat. There is another source of heat that is so obvious people ignore it. Other living bodies. Humans, dogs, any warm-blooded friend you have. 2 people in close contact do not produce twice the heat of 1 person in the same space, but they do fill the same small air volume with more watts faster. In a bag, under a blanket, or inside a small shelter, that matters. If you are with someone you trust and hypothermia is a real threat, physical distance is the enemy. Get in the same bag or wrap the same layers around both of you. Face each other or lie spooned, chest against back. Put the warmest person on the outside if wind is a factor, the coldest in the most protected position. Combine this with everything else: insulation under you, layers on you, shell around you. If you are alone, you do not have that option. You can still reduce how much surface area you expose. Curl into a fetal position. Knees toward chest, arms tucked in. Chin down, you are trying to make yourself into a ball, not a long stretched shape. The smaller the shape, the less surface area there is for radiation and convection to steal from. If you have a dog and the dog is used to you, this is where every night they insisted on sleeping on your feet finally pays off. Animals do not care about your personal space. In a life or death cold situation, you should not either. Your body is the heater. Everything else is architecture. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I need a big fire to live in cold conditions. Fire is useful. It gives heat, light, morale, and the ability to cook and sterilize. But it can also give away your position. It can be hard to start with numb fingers. It can burn down your shelter if you do it wrong. In many real-world cold survival stories, people have lived through brutal nights with no fire at all because they understood this simple principle. Your body is the only furnace you are guaranteed to have. It runs whether you want it to or not, as long as you are alive. You survive by becoming an engineer for that furnace. You stop conduction by getting off the ground and putting insulation between you and anything cold. You stop convection by sealing gaps and blocking wind with shells, tarps, plastic, and walls. You reduce radiation by using reflective surfaces and snug, small shelters. You use any heat you can generate, from hot water to shared bodies, as fuel in the right place, not wasted into open air. You do not need to be a wilderness expert to do this. You just need to remember that cotton kills when wet. Collect trash and natural debris like it is gold. Shrink your world down to a small, insulated bubble instead of trying to heat a whole room. Practice building these systems in low-risk conditions before you have to bet your life on them. You cannot control the storm. You cannot control the power grid. You cannot control whether help is coming. You can control whether that 100-watt bulb inside your chest is wrapped in a smart structure or left out on the porch in the wind. When everything goes wrong and the temperature drops, talent and toughness matter less than that. The people who live are the ones who plug the legs.